today's lesson, we're going to be going through
Hello ladies and gentlemen, hello students of Baby Steps, and hello fans of Baby Steps. It's nice to see you all today. Now, what did we talk about last week, people? Can you give me a while to guess what we talked about? Last week, what we talked about was basically how to sign up in a parenting class, one that suits you, and one that you think that would be good for you to take for learning about your parenting, development, discipline, and more. Well, I hope a lot of you went and did that, because parenting is very important, as I did discuss last week. This week's discussion, which is one of the most important developments in parenting and basically as a parent, is to learn about discipline. Now, a lot of parents out there who have children, and a lot of parents out there who have to discipline their children when they get a little bit older, into the toddler stage or older, they tend to discipline their own way. Now, not saying you shouldn't do it your own way, but really, you should really consider it. Because disciplining your child is not just about yelling and screaming, hitting, kicking, timeouts, or throwing them in their room. Basically, you need to understand that when you have to give your child a punishment of discipline of some sort, you need to understand that you need to discipline your child, not because you are angry at them, not because you need to show them that they did something wrong, but because you need to be the example shower. You need to be the leader. You need to be the parent at that point. You need to show them, this wasn't right, But don't go by doing that by hitting your kid, or don't go doing that by slapping them and things like that, because that's not going to do any good. All that's going to do is cause your child to be hateful as they get older. If you yell and scream at your child, they're going to be scared of talking to you. They're going to be scared to even ask you questions, and it's the truth. You need to understand that most ways of parenting is very important, and discipline is one of the things. So let's go by some meanings here, okay? Some meanings here for parenting and for discipline. Now for discipline, let's put it this way. How do you think is the best way to discipline your child? How can you do that? Okay, let me give one example. There's one thing. Now, a timeout, I know I mentioned a timeout shouldn't be authorized, but in a way it should be authorized, okay? When I mean do the timeout thing, don't just say, okay, go in the corner for this many minutes. Don't do that. You should tell your child, because they, at that stage, they want to do everything themselves. They don't want to be told what to do, right? So you need to tell them, I want you to go into a timeout, but I want you to come out when you're ready. That is a good thing to do. You know why? Because if you do that, your child will think. Your child will not only think, but your child will think, okay, I get to come out whenever I feel like it, right? So that's a really good thing to do. Set them their own timer so that they don't have to be told, oh, you can come out in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because you never know how long a child will be angry for. You don't know that, right? You have no idea how long your child will be angry for. And that's the truth. Now, in that point of view of timeouts, always remember one thing as they come out. And if they tell you, oh, mommy or daddy, I'm sorry, or if they tell you that they shouldn't have done this, or if they tell you how they feel about you too, don't go and yell at them and say, oh, you should do better next time, or you better not do that again. Talk to them, because they're coming to you, right? They are coming to you as they are, like, accepting and telling you what they did was wrong, right? So in that point of view, you say, okay, son or daughter, I understand how you feel, and I'm happy to understand how I feel, right? You need to really show that you understand them as they are showing they understand you. Now, the next part I want to kind of get into, and this is called ACT. A-C-T, ACT. What I mean by ACT is, okay, the first letter of ACT is A. The first letter for that is in verse is accepting your child's feelings and understanding. Now, what I mean is this. Your child could be very upset about something. Your child could be sitting there really angry. And you know that they're doing something wrong or not. You need to understand that they are upset about something too. It's just like when you get upset. You're going to be really pissed off about it. You're going to want to show your feelings sometimes. It depends on the type of human being you are. That depends on the sociological human behavior, right? You need to understand that accepting your child's feelings needs to be done too. Because remember something, they may be kids, they may be young, but you need to remember they're still developing. They're not going to just adapt to our rules. They're not just going to adapt to saying, oh, okay, I did this wrong, right? They're going to get angry if they don't get what they want. It's more of a talking than it is shouting, right? So if you were in a supermarket or a Walmart, for example, and they wanted this toy, and they started fussing and started getting really angry about it, and they started crying, taking a huge fit. Don't sit there and say, okay, you know what, we're getting out of the store now, let's get the heck out of here, you're in big trouble. No, don't do that. What you need to do is, because they are still young, they are not going to understand your point of view, you need to sit with them. Somewhere in the mall private, you need to talk to them, you need to say, okay, son or daughter, I understand how you feel. I understand that you really want that toy. I would be just as angry as you right now if I really wanted that toy too. In fact, I am angry I can't get you that toy, but the only issue is that mommy or daddy does not have enough money at the moment. But I promise you that you will get that toy when mommy or daddy has this enough money in their budget. They may not feel better at that moment that much, but they will think about what you said. And remember, a promise is a big thing to a child. Promising your child is very important. Never break your promises. When you break a promise to your child, they're never going to trust you. They will think to themselves that if you say you're going to promise to take them to the park, you don't. If you promise them to take them to the supermarket with you, you don't. You got to understand that promises are very important too, right? You need to really take that time to think. You always want your child to trust you. You're their main domain. You don't want them to distrust you, because if they do that, then how are they going to trust anybody else in life? Let's go to C, complimenting them for their goods. Now, this is the funny part, right? In discipline, complimenting them for their goods. So, in other words, you're basically complimenting them on little things that they do. Even if they draw a picture and it may not be drawn properly, or if they do something that is good, that they love to do, and you may not be as interested, you should always consider taking that time to really compliment them on it. Make them feel good about themselves. Or for Mother's Day or Father's Day, they got you a nice little tie that has a joker on it for a funny thing. Tell them how much you appreciate it. You know what? Always compliment your child on a daily basis about how much they are great for you. Tell them how much you appreciate them in your life no matter what. Tell them that you just love them to death. Just compliment them. That's what you need to do. Complimentation is the best thing, right? When people tell you that, well, you did this wrong, you should have done this better, things like that, it hurts a kid, of course. It makes you think that you did not accomplish nothing. It makes you think that about yourself, and it's the truth, right? So, just always think that to yourself. Just always think how happy you are for that child. And like I talked about last week, in rewarding your child for their accomplishments. That is an accomplishment to them. You need to reward them on that, right? Now, the last letter for ACT, T, taking the time to talk with your child. Now, taking the time to talk with your child. Your child could be acting out. Your child could be bothering you, like really bothering you, and you don't understand what the heck their problem is, and they're really dependent on you to do everything for them. you should take the time, talk to your child, wonder what's going on with them, see what they're up to these days. Ask if there's anything they want to talk about. That's something you should always do with your child, because your child is going to be at a young age. You're going to be scared to talk to certain people about certain things, and you don't want them to be scared of you. You know, don't yell at them no matter what it is. Even if they say they have a problem with you, your mom, their grandparents, anyone, always let them know that you're there to talk to them about it. Always advise them to help them get better. You know, and always advise them never to be scared to talk to you about anything, even if it's something that's so severe. Always make sure that they understand that you are there for them. You know what I'm saying? You need to always give them that impression. Because if you don't give them that impression, they're going to believe that you don't care about them. And that's a bad thing for a child to think. Because they're going to grow up feeling hateful because of that reason. You don't want them to feel hateful because of that reason. So we went through the discipline part in ACT. Right? So there we go. With disciplining, I just gave you guys a good reason today what to do. Always make sure, don't hit your child. Don't shout at your child. But always make sure you talk to them and make them understand what they did was wrong, and let them know you understand how they feel. You know, always relate to them. And the one last thing I want to talk about before we end the episode. Compromise. Okay? Remember I was going in promise before? I was talking to you about how important a promise is to your child. Well, right now we're going to talk about compromising, which is a similarity. Now, with the compromising, you know, your child needs to have a bath. Your child needs to eat. Your child needs to go to sleep. You may need to do that. Put your child to bed, for example, right? So, for example, if your child was going to go for a bath, and you went to them and said, okay, son or daughter, time for a bath. And then after that, they got a little upset. They want you to read them a book first. And then after that, you said, well, it's time for a bath. And then after that, they said, well, I want you to read me a book. You can't just go and yell at them and then say, oh, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to give you a spanking, or I'm going to put you to bed even earlier next time. No, don't do that. It's going to make both of you angry and feel bad. Don't do that. What you need to do is this. What you say to your child is this, just like this. Just say, okay, well, have a good idea. You come for bath time first, and right after the bath, I promise you we will read the book. And if the child goes with it, make sure you make it as you made it sound. Don't break the promise, as I mentioned earlier, right? Because you need to always remember, your rule should always be first, right? You're the parent and you're the leader. Your rule should always go first, always. And always make sure they get what they want afterwards, right? Don't make it an expectation, but do it so they know that you are there for them and that they can trust you as their guardian and parent and leader. Kind of thing, right? That's how it always goes for leadership, parenting, and guarding. You always need to understand that your authority is the most important thing, besides, you know, like just being a bossy person, right? Make your child understand you love them and help them understand that you're not doing it to hurt them, but you are doing it for them and for their needs for life. Alright? Well, anyways, guys, that was the lesson based on discipline today. I hope all of you enjoyed this episode. I hope all of you have help from this episode. And next week, we are going to do an episode on the crib. I'm going to show you things about the crib that you could really use. And I'm going to show you a few little tactics that need to be said about the crib, so you guys will know everything about a crib, okay? Anyways, guys, that was Baby Steps. Hope all of you enjoyed the 15th episode. See you next week for 16th. Take care. Bye-bye.